Hello everybody and welcome back to Rebellious Menstruation. This is a book review on Meryl Wilsner's Mistakes Were Made. This book is quite possibly become one of my favourites actually. It is the two main characters in this are university senior by the name of Cassie Klein, and she is about 21, and she leaves her university's family weekend, goes to a bar and picks up a woman by the name of Erin Bennett, and of course they have a one-night stand, and it is the next morning that she discovers that this woman is the mother of one of her friends at university. This friend is a freshman. I think it's a freshman. I kind of get slightly confused by American years, but I'm pretty sure she's a freshman. So is like 18. But they kind of became friends in a roundabout way. So that's how they're going to meet. This friend of Cassie's and Erin's daughter invites her to so their university is in the southern state, and the Bennetts live in outside of Boston, which is in Massachusetts. I'm not American. I vaguely know where things are. And so as a consequence, unwittingly, Cassie and Erin end up kind of back in each other's orbits quite frequently due to their shared connection, and their, for better use of a word, affair continues for probably about 8 months. They nearly get caught several times, multiple things happen, and both of them have quite perturbing pasts. Cassie comes from a very, I suppose, neglected childhood, neglectful youth, and was kind of rescued by her friend Acacia's family, and Acacia's also another student at the university, but I think is a year younger than Cassie. So there's the 18-year-old daughter, there is the 20-year-old friend, and then there is 21-year-old Cassie. So there is kind of an age gap. I would say probably Erin would be in her late 30s. There is an implication that she had her daughter quite early in her life and had a toddler while completing her degree. So the implication is that she was still a teen, probably 19. So there is this kind of age gap that was going on. Obviously the complication of the daughter and the age gap, but they can't really... Erin has a past of her own where she was quite, I wouldn't say abused, but very strictly raised by her mother, who set up all of these kind of expectations, and this in some way led to her being married and pregnant at a very early age before she got her dream kind of job as a doctor. So it very influenced her kind of path going the wrong way for her, even though she wouldn't probably describe having a daughter as the wrong path, but just probably not at 19. She is divorced from the father, her ex-husband, so she's very highly strung and very strict with herself, because that's how her mother instilled a lot of the life, her whole life, is that the expectations of other people should rule your life, which is also kind of why Cassie was such a outside choice for her. Cassie's probably used to making reckless choices because she didn't, but Cassie had a lot of reckless choices in her youth, so she's kind of come much further round to going to university, getting good grades, getting an internship, going for her master's. I think that because she's in her senior year, there are talks of getting this internship in the aerospace program that she wants to go into. There's talk of her master's program. She's very driven to strive for better things than her childhood gave her, and had kind of made a lot of bad decisions leading up to where she was making these responsible ones now. And it's kind of almost the reverse for Erin. Is Erin had all of these structures and strictures put in place around her, and then kind of after her divorce was just like, I just want to be able to find me. And obviously her daughter's gone to university, so she's got an empty nest and an ex-husband, and is just trying to negotiate where she really wants to be in her life. And I think this is where this relationship kind of comes into dominance, is that she really made a choice for herself and not for her mother or her husband or her daughter or the many things that she has in her life that make her responsible. And so it's kind of one of the things that the book deals with really well, is that it's less about the age gap and more about making decisions in spite of what other people think and in spite of what we are, which is just a really nice central storyline. I think being in my middle age, the kind of coming out stories get tedious after a while, and the coming out stories are really great when you're young, but kind of a bit okay when you're a bit older, because that's been and gone and done, and you don't have to be in a space where that matters as much, and that you have this kind of yearning desire to be who you are, because you've just kind of you already are that. And so I think both of their journeys towards each other were about growing into oneself, and they're very similar in ways that have this kind of history of trauma, but making really beneficial decisions for themselves. And I think you kind of see that with both of them, and that's how they get together. So it's probably, I know the age gap probably is slightly controversial. I'd probably say the age gap is not controversial at all for me. It's probably more that she was at the same university as her daughter, and her daughter was really close friends with her. I think that's probably more of a shock, I guess, than them having an age gap, because the age gap in the context of their stories and in the context of their book, in the context of the way that they merge together, actually makes sense. Dating your daughter's friend from university possibly makes less sense. But again, in the context of the story, they do discuss this and deal with this, and they're just like, we shouldn't be doing this. And it takes them probably 8 months or 9 months of having this covert fling behind everyone's back. Oh, to be fair, Cass's best childhood friend discovers that quite early, or is told that quite early, that Cassie's kind of having this side fling with Erin. And they discover this quite early. There are like mistakes made along the way, and they overhear information that they shouldn't be hearing and blah blah blah, but they eventually sort it out in the end. And even the daughter comes around and kind of becomes this not advocate for their relationship, but it just realizes that her mother's a person, and that her mother's choices aren't always about her, which I think when you're 18, 19, 20, and when you're growing up that way, and they had a very privileged life, so in comparison to, say, Cassie, who very like trailer park, had this life, and your parents' choices don't always have everything to do with you, and they can be an adult decision for themselves. And I think that's probably partially where this daughter's difficulty with their relationship comes from, is she's still treating her mum like she's not a person, rather than treating her like she is a person outside of her, which I think at 17, 18, 19, you don't see a lot. So there's also that grappling of that story all within this as well. So this is definitely one of my faves. Would definitely recommend reading it. It is kind of a little bit like bent at the... I've read it multiple times because it is just such a sweet and delightful story. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your morning, afternoon or evening, depending of course where you are in the day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.